It's Gonzalo Higuain, and it's buried in the top corner.
Campana, and again.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Chris, the Herons are back. The battered Herons, that is. How you doing, Chris?
I'm good, my friend. This is a beautiful, beautiful week, beautiful Wednesday. We are a couple days away from game day. And look who we got on. We got a huge, huge fan and representative of the fan base, Sofian. He's happy to join the show. We're happy to have you on. You can find him on Twitter at Sofian Benzaza. Did I say that right?
100%. 10-10.
Awesome. Sounds
And
good.
you were covering this team you said 10 years ago.
10 years ago, I started covering the club and watching the club. Yeah, I'm doing good, man. Fans get for inviting me. It's really fun. And it's good to speak to people around sort of a new club. Still, Miami is still very young. So thanks for the invite. It's going to warm me up in this, let me check, in this 5-degree Fahrenheit weather. Because I'm talking to U.S. fans. So
over here it's like 85. It's not too much of a difference, just about 80 degrees.
No problem.
All right. So before we get started, because we wanted to obviously talk about Saturday and the game. Season's finally started. I'm sure that you're itching to get it started just as much as we are. But there was news that dropped today that I felt like we need to touch on. The new playoff format. Was it yesterday? Was it yesterday that it dropped? Yesterday, today? I'm getting my days confused. Regardless, it dropped over the last 48 hours. We now have 9 playoff teams, technically 8. You have that last wild card game with the 8th and the 9th. The 8th seed hosting the 9th seed to see who gets that last seed to play against the first seed. So you have technically 18 teams that make it to the postseason. 18 teams out of 29. Yeah. Now, some people are saying that it's too much. I kind of like it, but I am very unconventional with my soccer fandom. So go figure. What do you get? Well, let me go to Chris first, and then we'll go over to Sofian. What do you think about this new playoff format, Chris?
I mean, I understand the idea of sort of trying to mix it up and get some sort of, I guess, a different approach to the playoffs. But I felt like they had a good thing going with the way that the playoffs were set up last season, right? Like, why? I mean, what are you trying to do here? Are you trying to tinker it just to sort of get more people a little bit more excited about the possibility of making playoffs? I don't see what the angle is here. What do you? I mean, of course, it all comes down to money. But what do you think, Sofian? Do you like the new format?
Kind of intense. I'm cool with change. I enjoy change, to be honest. And let's not forget the MLS format has changed many times since Montreal came into the league in 2012. It has changed a few times, home and away, then only one game, and it's been a bit similar, but still there was a few changes. But this is a bit drastic, and I agree. It does feel like a money grab in the sense, Apple TV, MLS season pass, whatever you want to call it, needs to invest heavily on many games, and let's say, it's cute. The supporters shield, the cute little trophy, nice little plate. You can put your pasta in there. You can put your couscous. My Algerian brothers there and sisters that are listening, or a poutine if you're in Quebec. It's cool. It's a good bragging rights, but it's all about the playoffs. If LAFC does not beat Philadelphia, we're gonna forget that they won Supporters Shield. So
sure.
It's also about the playoffs. All the big moments in this league has been about the playoffs. Yeah, it's a few big season moments. I agree. Like there are many storylines throughout the season, but it's weird. It's odd. But the thing is, my personality is that even though sometimes I'm against change on some things, but for these kind of changes, I'm like, okay, let's try it out. Let's try it because it is a closed league. There's no promotion relegation. It is a franchise league like the NBA, etc. So you have your season and you have your playoffs, and they're two different. There's basically two different seasons, and you need to be able to step up in both. It's a way to. Does it dilute the product? We'll see. But
no.
I don't think so. But there's so many new players coming in, and the MLS clubs are spending crazy money on transfer market. Like if it's feels like
they're gonna. They said they're gonna announce a 30th team by the end of the year, which is probably gonna be Las Vegas. So we're gonna have 30 teams by the time that the year's over.
Yeah. I have trouble catching up. To be honest, sometimes I find there's too many teams. I have trouble catching up. Like, okay, St. Louis, and I don't know who, I don't know what. It's very difficult, right? But yeah, you can't be playing 34 games, and then not make the playoffs by August. You're done. No, you want to have a decision day. You want to have drama, and you want to have
But
some playoff drama too.
but that's always been my discussion against relegation and promotion. I don't like that when you're approaching the end of the season, you know who's going to be the champion with like 3 months left. It's between 2 or 3 teams, and everybody's like, oh, yeah, but you're still fighting to be in the Champions League or to the Europa League. Who cares? I want to be the champion of my league. I don't care about next season's championship. My team isn't even going to be the same next season. I want this team to have an opportunity to win a championship this year. I don't know why everybody's so excited. Oh, we made it to the top 4. Maybe next year we could be in the Champions League. That means nothing to me. I want this year to have to win a championship. Why does anybody care about next year? It makes no sense to me how excited people get about a top 4 finish. It's stupid.
Yeah, but that's soccer, man. But that's football, man. It's a clash of cultures.
Everybody that's a purist and has loved soccer all their lives, they're into it. And hearing me say that, it's like, oh my God, this guy's such an idiot. Well, how could he say that European soccer is perfect? To me, it's not perfect. I think it sucks that 2 or 3 teams are fighting for the championship with 3 months left, and everybody else is like, well, maybe we can jump into the Champions League next year. Oh, maybe we can get into the Europa League. Oh, let's just make sure we don't get relegated. Like, no, I want a chance to win a championship. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. Like, this is the whole point of watching a sport, is to hope that your team is holding the trophy at the end of the year. But 3 or 4 months into it, more than half the league's already out of it. What's the point of watching that shit?
You could tell Adrian with the golden comment. Lay off the Red Bull, Danny. You could tell that Danny is amped up for this topic.
I hate it. I hate it.
What do you think about that idea, Sofiane, about the promotion and relegation and what that has to offer?
No, because I live in both worlds. Right? I have grown up with football, soccer in the way that Danny hates, but or doesn't respect, or whichever you want to say. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Danny. Sorry.
No, look, I've watched European soccer for a long time. I don't hate it. But I like the playoff system. I like that the 8th seed could get hot and has a chance to win a championship.
No, I agree.
That fan base has a chance.
But I don't want to be your shrink live here, but I think you're more reacting to people telling you that playoff sucks, European soccer is better, the whole elite thing, and you fed up being bashed on, right? So, and many people feel like that in the sense, the same people that love Liverpool and Man City and Madrid and Barcelona playing elite soccer, which is fine, also love the NBA format. People living in London love the NBA because it's a great product, right? It's all about the product, whichever way eventually you'll get used to it. But yes, the ruler of world football has been everyone else except for North America. This is the way we do it. We have leagues, we have promotion, relegation. So North America has its own little bubble. A bigger bubble is growing every time, and it's fine. These things can coexist. And it's just that there's no need to. I think the bashing comes from the other way, that the call them Eurosnob, whatever you want to call them, bash MLS, that there's no promo or pro-rel, and it's like it is what it is. The playoff format it's kind of encapsulated this culture of North American soccer, and it's fine as long as they don't bring back those breakaway penalty kicks, which I think they might eventually. Like, don't bring those back.
But
I think
they might bring those back for like an all-star game. They won't bring them back for the actual league. Look, and Calypso brings up a good point. The logistics in such a big country doing the pro reg is tough also.
Yeah, it's economically it's difficult.
And my other thing, and I had no intention of getting into the pro reg conversation today, but now that we're on it, just real quick, in a country that's trying to grow the popularity, it's really hard let's say Las Vegas gets a team next year, and then all of a sudden they have a team and they're like, hey, come to the game, and then they have a bad season and boom, you're relegated. You're in the 2nd division. In the United States, we're like, what? What do you mean we're in the 2nd division? So we're not going to fight for we're not in the top tier? Okay, call me when we're back there. And like teams, these owners that are buying these teams, they're putting in a lot of money to own these teams. And for you to tell them that, they're going to play in the 2nd division, it just makes no sense. But again, I don't think it's going to work here in the United States, at least not while we're trying to grow the sport. Maybe after it's growing in popularity and we have like 40 teams, and then we could break it up into 20 and 20, maybe. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. And I don't think it makes sense to make it happen anytime soon. And again, I had no intention of having this conversation. I'm not sure how I got worked up. I apologize. Anyway. So I did have a question for you, right? Now that we're off that topic.
But the format is crazy. That's agree. It's a bit like out of the blue. It's a bit intense.
Yeah, no, and I also think that it's weird that we're doing this. why are we doing a 3-game series in round one and then single elimination the rest of the way through?
I'm telling you, these are prototypes. They're doing tests. Let's see how it's gonna work. We're gonna test the Apple TV platform. We're gonna test the cameras. We're gonna test the format. We're gonna test the drama. I'm pretty. These are like, you know, elite tests. They have these master plans for us, and they're gonna they're gonna control the game for us. But yeah, joking aside, I think they're testing stuff. This has to be like a test case. Let's see how it works. What works better, the 3-game series, best of, and also they want to track everyone. They want to track people who are used to have these, best of 5, best of 7
I'm not like
within.
I like the home and away. I like the 2 legs. I like
Me,
that.
me honestly, yeah. If they could keep that, it should have home away all the time.
Yeah, I think
Whether it's
that
a
that makes
playoff
the most
game,
sense.
yeah, yeah, I
Even
agree.
if they say that there's no such thing as home field in that case, but that's okay. I think home and away makes the most sense. I don't know why. I really don't know why you would do a 3-game series for the first round and then single elimination all the way through. I
Yeah,
I just I don't understand it.
and that's why I think they're testing. Like they're trying to see what would work better for the next few years because it's a 10-year contract with Apple TV. So I'm pretty sure this is not a coincidence that the format is probably going to change in a couple of years or in 3 years, which has changed a few times since, like I said, since Montreal came. So in the MLS. So I don't want to be, a skeptic or I think I see it as a sort of let's see what's going to happen because they're
Yeah.
trying to create stories. This is look at the whole Apple MLS season pass storylines about stories, profiles, players, where they come from. We're gonna see the whole marketing
It's
around
marketing.
derbies and rivalries, and it's gonna be whatever we had those famous rivalry week is gonna be like tenfold
Yeah.
with the new product with Apple MLS season pass. So I think they're trying to sell more marketing to try to attract people and attract with stories, right? Because at the end, like you said, you want your friend who hates soccer to come to watch Inter Miami for the story, not just for the game. The game is there, but you can win and lose. But you're here for the stories, for
Yes.
the player, the connections. It's not just that. So I think that's they're trying to do, and it makes sense. But it's kind of rough for us. It's like a big change. But for the
Yeah, it is.
12-year-old who doesn't know
I was
anything,
and
it's
I
like
was that
I'm
guy.
12. I'm happy. Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Chris, I
I
interrupted
so
you. Sorry.
No, I mean my
well,
connection is terrible, but I was that guy that he brought to the game that hated soccer. So yes, you're 100% on point.
all right. So let's finally get on some Montreal talk. Before we get on the pitch, I did have a question. MLS revealed 29 new jerseys, or 28. I'm sorry, 28 new kits this week.
Here we go.
But there was one missing. Now, why? I've heard a couple things here and there, but you would probably know better than us. Why does Montreal not have a new kit? Why do you guys have just one kit available at this very moment? I need to know the details. Like I said, I know you know better than us. So
Yeah,
please break it down to
it's a
me.
mess. It's a mess, man. It all started with the famous rebrand where the club went from Montreal Impact de Montréal to CF Montreal, Club de Foot Montréal.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do branding and you have Nike or Adidas or whoever, Puma, your jerseys are done 2 years in advance. Everything is done in advance, right?
Right.
Whatever is done in 2024 has been set 2023 even before. So it's all a long-term planning, and there was a campaign done during the rebrand for Montreal Impact. They decided to do like in 3 languages: French, English, and one of the First Nation language that's in Quebec, the province of Quebec here. I think it's Mohawk, the Mohawk Nation, but I
Okay, like
remember the
indigenous. Okay.
Indigenous, yeah, First Nation. We call it First Nation here. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's and I don't remember the name of the language exactly, but it's from the for Mohawk Nation, and then the club tweeted a couple weeks ago that there will be no, like a week before the whole Amala jersey release, is that there will be no the new jersey will not be released as it is. We need to talk to the community and leadership of the First Nations that are implicated in this and make and improve it or change it, whatever it was. They don't say what they did. Was there a boo boo done, or I don't know. I don't know what's written on that thing for them to
So
pull out that jersey.
basically, it's a huge freaking political mess that happened with this jersey.
Yes, like the previous administration that did the rebrand that was seen as a disaster that has left
Yes.
that left the club 18 months ago. Well, whatever they did with the rebrand, included that part with the New Jersey because it's all done 18 months in advance. Whatever's happening now has been
Yes.
decided in 2021, basically.
Yeah.
So
A year and a half ago.
exactly. So Adidas and Nike and whoever can, for example, the World Cup kits, they're not done 6 months before. They're already done a year and a half ago. So
Oh wow.
same thing for these MLS kits. So well, I say 18 months, could be shorter, but it's not done 2 weeks before, right? You don't send
Right.
your design, your Adobe Photoshop design to Adidas a week before.
So what you're saying
yeah.
is that you think that they printed something and might have sent the wrong message or written the wrong
Yeah.
thing, and
Yeah,
they might have gotten some pushback.
Exactly. I said maybe we shouldn't release this. It's not going to work out. It might not have been controversial, but I think let's be safe. The club has been in some turmoil just before that for other things, so we're like, let's keep it cool. It's we like to call the club CF Drama. It's a club that has been known for unnecessary drama. Like there's drama. Drama is normal. We're humans. There's tensions and stuff, but sort of like self-inflicted wounds that could be avoided by this club a few times. And there's a new president, ex Impact legend Gabriel Gervais. He came in as like, you know what, we're gonna shut down whatever doesn't work and go from start a blank page. So yeah,
So it basically got canceled before culture came to cancel it.
In a way, and I'm not even sure if it's cultural. It could have just been like, you know what, we're not dissing ourselves whatever was done before us. You know what I mean?
Well, the cancel
Yeah.
culture, they roll hundreds deep, so you can forget about it.
Exactly.
They put
Yeah.
the
If you put the wrong
you put the
word
wrong
or it
message
doesn't
on
match.
there.
Exactly.
Forget about it.
And I think the club did a good job to just distance themselves, because even if it's never controversial what was written, or not controversial, maybe it doesn't match the cultural aspect of the language of the First Nations that's implicated. At least you show sensitivity to say to yourself, you know what, maybe this is not working. Like
Right.
the commenter said, maybe it was a spelling error. It could have been that, but at least the club is saying, we're not gonna we're gonna defuse this bomb. We're not gonna do anything and just wait.
So as far as you've heard, are they going to go all season with one kit?
They're gonna reuse
Last
the kit
year's-
from last
from
year
last
and put
year.
the new
Okay.
and put the new logo, because we'll also have a new logo this year.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's
Okay.
funny that you're talking about the new logo, because a couple episodes ago, we had some of our viewers tell us that one of the logos of Montreal, of CF Montreal, looked kind of like a butthole. Do you know what logo I'm talking about here?
Yeah, the first logo of the rebrand, like
Ooh,
it's supposed to look like a star, like a snowflake.
yes.
And it is what
But
it is, man.
But the funny thing is that at first glance, it didn't really look like a butthole. I mean, you really have to think of a butthole in order to be like, this
No,
kind of
it's a-
looks like a
It's an image
butthole.
trick, right? Like
Yes.
it looks like a duck, or it looks like a fish. Those illusion tricks, optic tricks.
Well,
So yeah.
and talking about buttholes, right? CF Montreal came in and basically destroyed us in their last what was it, the last game of the regular season, Danny?
Yep.
Yeah, they came in and came down to South Florida, took advantage of our weather and our players, destroyed us, and they ended up actually second last year in the Eastern Conference. And now it seems like people are starting to sing a different tune here. Danny, what do you think about what's going on with CF Montreal? There's been a couple changes. There's been a couple things that have been happening. Do you see anything that's drastically different? Are you worried? Are you not, Danny?
The funny thing is that Montreal's been looking at as a seller club, right? You guys are developing and selling. Like, you guys aren't developing to keep, but you guys are bringing back like 8 starters from last season.
No, it's true. Yeah.
So I'm hearing a lot of people expecting Montreal to fall off this year, because you guys were great last year. Obviously, you lost your manager, and we'll get into that in a second. And the style of play with him, with 3 in the back, 2 left back and wing backs on left and the right side. Like, I know you guys had a certain style of play, a lot of possession. So a lot of people are saying because you lost your manager, maybe things are going to change. But I can't imagine that just losing your manager, you're going to go from second in the East dominating to all of a sudden falling off like everybody else. So I guess you're the perfect person to ask. Why do you think people are expecting? Like, do you expect the big fall off?
No, maybe maybe more in the middle and fight for a playoff spot. But last year, I didn't seem to do so well, because I didn't know Ismail Kone was going to explode. I didn't see many players come up, and I do find that what's his name? Well, they did lose Georgi Malovic, huge offensive star.
Yes.
You
Uh-huh.
lose Asad Johnson, a very good right back, fullback, wing back that really did well. He went to Celtic. So there's a few
But you guys,
losses.
you guys got a new right back, no, Aaron
Herrera, yeah, from Salt Lake.
Herrera, yes.
And also Ismail Kone, he's also not in the team anymore.
Yeah, he was huge. So offensively, some question marks, and at the attacking level, there's some few players, but a lot of injury prone. Even Kyoto, who has been great since he came to Montreal, very injury prone. So the question marks are kind of scaring people a little bit, and we're to see how is Losada gonna handle this team. Gotta wait a few games, see what's gonna happen, right? To see to look for a pattern. So it can be long. It can take a bit of a while. But I'm always like skeptic as a person, a little bit. I'm like, let's wait and see. I don't want to, predict anything too soon because
Of
last year
course,
I
yeah.
got burned because I didn't see anything coming. I'm like, we have to wait. But it's just
And
that what's annoying is that the rest of the league is increasing their expenditure and transfers, right? And new players.
Yes.
So
and
it's a bit of both. You're getting a bit weaker. The rest of the league is getting a bit better, and you have a new coach. So it's like, okay, is it
It's a
a new
little
start?
scary. It's a little
Yeah,
scary.
yeah,
Yeah, Danny.
yeah.
well, when people give so much credit to Nancy, do you think that that's like it's true that he deserves most of the credit for the success last year? Because everybody's saying that it's because of the loss of Wilfred Nancy that you guys are going to have that drop off because you guys are going from a possession based off or gameplay
Yeah.
to I'm not even sure what your new manager runs.
Me neither. At DC, it was more of a counterattack. We have to
Yeah.
see. At DC, it was more of a counterattack, so we have to wait and see. But listen, the VP of football, Olivier Renard, the Belgium guy, he's really good at finding, and his assistant Vasily, Montreal local guy, they're able to find like these, has been or a bit of like problem players like Georgi Mialovic had some issues with
Yeah.
Chicago, Kyoto had some issues in Houston, and they're able to revamp their career, right? So,
Yeah.
and Nancy was part of the success. So I think let's get a 50-50 between the technical staff and Wilfried Nancy. But what Nafasi did to really step up Mihailovic's game and Ismail Kone's game, it's something impressive. So, let's give it 60-40 for Wilfried just for the fun of it. But the technical staff and the recruitment has been a huge part of the success because they're looking to buy cheap, sell high, but also
They're
have
solid, for
quality.
sure.
Have quality. That's
Well,
important.
and I can't wait to see the game, and I can't wait to see how Montreal looks because I got to be perfectly honest. Last year, I was terrified of Montreal. I was legitimately every time that we had to play them, the last game, I thought to myself, "Oh my goodness, we are gonna get." I mean, we got destroyed, and on top of that, it was pouring over here.
Yeah, I remember.
So, and I didn't have a rain jacket or anything like that. So I just got screwed in the rain. So we got destroyed, and we're walking out freaking soaked out of the stadium. Now, I mean, there's been a lot of changes to the team, a lot of changes internally with the players, internally with the coaching staff. What do you consider are probably the biggest loss or the best addition that's occurred with the team?
I think the biggest loss. It's a good question. If I had to choose one loss, it will be Ismail Kone because he really was able to play basically 2-3 positions as sort of like makeshift defensive midfield.
And he's a hard player to guard too because he's strong.
Exactly. When he plays eight box to box, he can really hurt you. And if you can push him as a sort of false number 10, third striker to help up and score goals or create chances, he can do it. So, like,
super
I
scary.
think the thing is, I was used to Mihailovic. I knew he was good. But I got addicted to the Ismail Kone drug because I was like, oh, he's so young, he's so good. But we knew he was going to leave. I was like, oh, he was really like, enticing. And the biggest gain right this year, honestly, keeping 8 starters is a huge thing. Getting Wanyama back is a huge thing. So a bit of a stability and familiarity, and while keeping the same like philosophy and structure. Hopefully the Lusada fits in. We'll see how he's going to fit in for real because everyone's cool in press conferences, but we'll see how it happens when you lose games and you have to make subs and that's another story.
Now we're talking about the management of the players at that point. It's not even about the skill. We're talking about how are you going to be able to manage these players, and have you been able to find what it is that they're effective at, especially
Exactly.
considering that this is kind of new.
Yeah, and how to talk to them. Some players don't need to be talked to. You need to direct them. Some players need to be
Yes.
coddled. It's all different. It's philosophy. It's psychology 101, right? It's a very hard job.
Yeah.
And Losada is very young. So was with Fernandesi, but Fernandesi was in the Montreal staff for like 10 years, academy, assistant coach. So he was getting ready to do this job. That's what Columbus paid a lot to get him, and he's paying a lot of money to coach the Columbus Crew. So it's not a
Yep.
coincidence, right? And Losada is a second gig in MLS, and it's sort of like if you see DC United as a sort of like internship, well, CF Montreal is like
Yeah.
the real job, and
Oh yeah.
this is his chance to really show what he's made of, and he looks like a smart soccer guy, and let's give him some time.
If I had to ask you, as an Inter Miami fan going into Saturday, who is the player that we should be most fearful of? Is it Kyoto?
If he's not injured, or if he's 100%, yeah, Kyoto is the most dangerous guy. I think he's one of the most underrated players in this league. And I know there's
Yes.
35 teams in MLS and 2,000 players. I agree.
Right.
I can't see any. I can't know everyone. Even the MVP. Some players I barely
course.
saw one game or two because life and lack of time. But
Right.
Kyoto is one of the most underrated players I find because he can play basically 4 positions, both wings,
Yeah.
a center forward, and a sort of like behind the striker. He can cross, he
Oh
can
yeah.
shoot, he can
That's
head,
what's
he can
dangerous.
dribble. He can play many positions. He can play any system. It's 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 3-4-3. It doesn't matter. He's really good. He can play as a pivot striker. Just like shove his back on the defender, block him, and just take the ball as a pivot striker and like move it along. If he's not
That's a
injured.
dangerous kind of player. That's what
Oh,
that
yeah.
is.
Oh, yeah,
And he
he's
has a
dangerous.
big following here in Miami because he's Honduran, and we have a
Of
big
course.
Honduran population down here. So whenever he comes down, he sees some Honduran
Yeah.
flags in the crowd.
Exactly. He's lovable. He's a great celebration. Always smiling, a happy guy. He's a bit of a temper. Obviously, he's not. I won't be surprised he gets a red card this year, which is what he does usually. But he's really good. Like he's my favorite player, to be honest. I really enjoy watching him. He's because he's so versatile and he has different, he has a different like tools in his belt, and he can really do many things. And I'm impressed. I'm always impressed what he can do, and how come it didn't work out in Houston, which seems nothing works out in Houston since for a few years now. So
Oh yeah.
I'm happy for Montreal.
Even their
Yeah,
jersey
yeah.
doesn't work. I mean, it looks like pure vomit. But now, but now talking about CF Montreal and kind of what you went through, and we're about to start the new season. I want to know what you think are your expectations going to be. I mean, you guys were second in the East.
Yeah.
To me, I thought you guys were gonna go all the way, at least representing
To
the
the
Eastern
conference
Conference.
finals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At least the conference finals.
yeah.
Oh yeah, but they should have beaten New York City FC, but they have
I agree.
experience. But
Not anymore.
expectation, yeah, not anymore. But these expectations, man, it's really hard for me because everything is new, and my expectations have lowered since the new MLS playoff format. I'm like, well, if you finish 9th, you're not bad.
Hey, we're in.
We're in, and you make one
But that's
game.
how we
and
keep fans interested. This is why I like it.
exactly. So, but the thing is, if you don't make 9th by a long shot, then you're in trouble. So
Well,
that's
I
the
mean,
issue.
well, look at NYCFC, right? They were a great team last year. Now they got a couple custodians playing the season coming up. They can still make the 9th seed. So if they could probably still make it, I
When
think
I
they'll be
read
good
the
to go.
power rankings and all the predictions for the seasons, I told myself I absolutely know nothing about the MLS because I thought with all the core players that NYCFC, they lost Maxi Morales, Kyans, Sean Johns, they've lost their core and they're still predicted to end up like in second or third in the East. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's
I know
weird.
nothing.
Terrible.
Yeah,
I know nothing,
and
obviously.
that's why I have to watch games, man, because it's really difficult. And with MLS Season Pass, all the games, no blackouts, whenever you want, I'm like, great. But for Montreal, the expectation, they're gonna have to fight hard.
Yes.
Because this club is not gonna buy big players. They might do trades for players that are like maybe a good value teams don't want within MLS, but it's gonna be difficult, man. It won't be easy. But unless Losada is really this philosopher that's able to really sell his philosophy to the players and they adhere to it and it works out, this thing can hurt. there's some essence in this team, some attitude and character that they have that
Yes.
hopefully it won't go away because Nancy left, and I hope it stays within this team with all these veterans that stayed. That's what we hope. And
So
Yeah.
who's the
yeah,
biggest names that, since you say that Montreal doesn't really go and invest into big names, who's the biggest name you've ever had? Was it Drogba? Is that the
yeah,
biggest name you guys have ever had?
yeah. When we go from they went with the Italian route first, Di Vaio, Nesta. It worked. Even Nesta worked a little bit. He wasn't bad. Di Vaio was amazing. Honestly, he was like 36 and was kicking ass. I was really impressed.
Yeah.
I think he scored like twice 15 goals for his age. It was impressive.
Mhm.
But Drogba is the biggest name of all. Like, and the way he
Yeah, of
played, it
course.
was like, it's. I was impressed. Yeah, I was living in a dream. It was out of this world. Going to the stadium, watching Drogba, and even at his age, and the way he scored and his celebrations was a perfect storm. But Montreal have done both sort of both have there's two different versions of Montreal Impact except Montreal. There's the I want to be like LA Galaxy, buy some bling bling and try it out, but a bit of a low budget, low cost, and do the
Uh-huh.
Houston Dynamo back in the days, get some MLS players, keep it tight, and and try to get some good trades. They've done both, and now they have a sort of like equilibrium, trying to get like some good young players that cost money but that are good, and get some veterans that can help and get and do a lot with the academy and try to lower your cost and
Of
also
course.
help sell the academy as much as you can. So it's a bit of a mix and match, man. It's like if you look at Austin, like where is it getting all this money, buying all these players like crazy? Charlotte, where's Charlotte? Where is this? Where are they getting all this money? Yes, the owner is super rich, but still the
Yes.
investment into a city and state like North Carolina, I'm impressed. So
Mhm.
Montreal is not in this business anymore. They're not. For now, they're not. They're trying to want to be, not lose money anymore because this club lose a lot of money. They don't have many season tickets as much as they want to, so they want to rebuild from that and hopefully for 2 years be able to be positive in the budget and maybe invest when opportunities come up. If there's a Drogba coming up in 2 years, this club will go for it if
Maybe.
they see it's worth it, but not automatically. Like, they're not gonna look into Miami and get like 2 3 DPs at 10 million each. They're not gonna do that. They won't. They
Well, we
won't.
almost
worry.
got canceled for that as well. So
Yeah, I
Oh my
know.
god.
And then we don't even play them, so don't even worry about it. You're not that bad off. All right. So we got Saturday. Finally, the season starting. Montreal, Inter Miami. We're at home. I guess before we start at the predictions, I'm curious to get your opinion. For example, if you were to ask us what our biggest weakness is, it's the question marks on defense. Our defense was horrible last year.
Yeah, it
We
was
feel
horrendous.
confident in our
And
goalie. Yeah, we
and
feel
but your
confident in our
goalkeeper
goalie.
was which goalkeeper was it last
Yeah,
year? There was a guy who
Drake
was pretty bad.
Callender.
Yeah, there was another guy who was pretty bad in the
Nick
first
Nick
game.
Marsman.
Marsman.
Oh yeah,
He, wa-
that guy.
he, wa-
Defense
he wasn't
wise.
horrible, but yeah. But we feel a lot better with Drake
Guys
Callender
got to
back
get
there.
him out of here. You don't even want to
So-
know how much that guy's making.
We have
And now he's on the bench.
new additions on our defense, but we really haven't seen them play together all that much. We saw them all four play together for the first time, I believe, this past Saturday. They really weren't tested much. So I would say that is our weak, especially our depth back there. We're kind of thin as far as our backups. So I would say our weakness is our defense. And then our strength would be our two strikers if Joseph Martinez is healthy. I would say that is our strength, having Campana and Joseph up there. If I were to ask you, what's your biggest weakness on this team and what you would say is your strength, what would you say?
For Montreal,
Yes.
for Montreal, the biggest strength is the ability to stretch out the team with the fullbacks and be
Okay.
able to like be more direct. I think with Losada, he's gonna be more direct using those fullbacks to cross more. Nancy did not like enjoy crossing just for crossing. He would like to play
Yeah,
more
his
on
possession.
possession on
Mhm.
the ground. Even if he stretches you out, he's gonna pass the ball back to the middle.
Yep.
And the weakness is maybe a lack of offensive midfielder, which could be Sean Rea. You're gonna probably watch him playing against Inter Miami. He's a young guy from the academy, played in the Canadian Premier League for 2 years, was loaned out. He could be a sort of like a little surprise. He's a small guy, can dribble, can shoot, so he could be interesting. Sean Rea could be that key in the midfield, like the link up between the strikers and Wanyama and Piet. So that's the question mark. Who's gonna be that offensive maestro to link up the goal scorers with the midfield? It can't be just Kyoto doing back and forth the whole game. He's not gonna survive. He can't do that. Not at his age, or at least his sort of injury-prone, career. So the also offensive midfield, so sort of no man's land, needs to be filled by someone, maybe by two
Okay.
players, but that will be the weakness. And so we'll see how it's going to affect the way they play against Inter Miami. So it's going to be new for
Right.
all of us, to be honest.
Okay. I just want to
And so
address
what do you-
something not game related. I'm sorry, Chris. Just Esteban Dito. I forgot that they were talking about the yellow parking lot.
Bang!
So
Is this a Miami inside?
no, it's
Yes,
just
it is.
the biggest parking lot outside of our makeshift stadium is called the yellow parking lot, right? And they told us not too long ago that we weren't going to be able to use that parking lot anymore. And they designated a brown or orange and purple lot, and it was going to be like a 22-minute walk from there to the stadium. And just today we found out that they are opening the yellow lot again, which is great news for everybody that didn't want to have half a marathon of a walk to get to the stadium. So Esteban Dito, my understanding is that the yellow parking lot is going to be open at least for Saturday. I believe it should be for the whole year, but at least Saturday you won't have
Check your
to have
spam folder.
you won't have to have a half marathon walk to the stadium. We should be able to just comfortably take a couple steps into the stadium like we were doing last year. So
Did you guys do tailgates in Miami? You guys do tailgates?
Oh, yeah.
we have the weather for it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, stupid question, obviously. Duh.
Well,
So,
and to stay a little bit off topic, to give
go.
some love to Sofian, one of our guys here, Steve Munoz, he put a comment up here. I wonder if Sofian releases ASMR videos. You definitely do have the voice for it.
No, listen, guys. Okay, thanks, Lucas and Steve. Listen, guys. Confession, okay? The kid is sleeping. It's a bit of an echo here where I am, and I got a few texts that I'm speaking too loud. So that's why I'm speaking with the ASMR voice, because I'm afraid to wake up anyone. And at the same time,
Listen.
first time I wear these headphones. I usually wear like those iPhone whatever with string.
So you don't realize how loud you're speaking.
Yeah, but these really make me like feel I need to shout, and I don't realize I'm excited or whatever. So that's why I need to keep it smooth. But
Listen,
Well,
you
I
can
have
keep
no
talking like
idea.
that all podcast. I'm perfectly
I
fine
have-
with that. Trust me.
If you guys don't
you got
mind,
the voice.
I am probably divulging how non-technical or YouTube savvy I am. I have no idea what ASMR videos are.
Oh Lord.
So
Don't
It's
Google it, that'll work.
autonomous sensory meridian response. Basically, like static, like sort of like a voice, sort of sound. It's like
Just
audio
soothing
and
sound?
visual stuff, like soothing stuff, but like it's supposed to be like, for the spine or for the brain. I don't know. Dude.
Yeah,
I
like,
listen to Sade, but not.
I've seen on YouTube like people take like it gets creepy sometimes. So that's why you don't Google it at work. Google it on your own phone on your network. So you might get some weird
Oh,
links.
nice.
It's
Lucas said
people
it's basically soft moaning.
yeah, you can say that. Yeah, like I've seen on YouTube like people use it for therapy. Like someone's like I don't know, I don't know what they're doing, man. They're making rubbing the microphone so you can hear it and like
Yeah,
the white
yeah.
noise. The white noise. I think it's weird, man. It's
Okay,
kind of
white
creepy.
noise.
Literally like making out with the microphone, like
Yeah.
the jazz radio guys, like 93.9.
Yeah. So basically, this show we're never gonna air what all we said. We're gonna be canceled, so we're done.
Got you. Esteban Dito, yeah. So it was confusing, but yeah, on Saturday, if you went to the game, you should be good. Yellow Lot is going to be open for Saturday. All right, but speaking of Saturday, let's get into it. So Saturday, game number 1, we need it probably more than you because we're tired of waiting till our 6th game to win a game. We need a result early, especially because for some reason the schedulers decided to schedule us against the top 3 Eastern Conference teams the first 3 weeks of the year. We got Montreal, followed by Philly, and then NYCFC. Now, I thought Montreal and NYCFC had fallen off a little bit, but the more I hear about it, maybe not so much. So we definitely need a result. Sofian, how do you see this game going? I know you're a skeptic, so make me feel good.
No, I will because I did predict on all podcasts Monday night, and And people think I'm a hater against Montreal, but I do have a sort of a hate-love relationship with the club. A little bit disclaimer, but with Campagna and Jose Martinez,
Joseph. Mhm.
Joseph, I think it's 3-1 Miami. I think because I don't see what's going to happen offensively for Montreal. Even though you guys might be horrendous defensively, you have to wait and see what's going to happen.
Yes.
I do think Yedlin's a bit overrated. Like he's good, but like the guy's not 22 anymore. This is not Seattle anymore.
Gotta fall back a little bit. Bring
Like
it
he's
down,
good.
Yedlin.
I like him. I like him.
No,
but
No,
look,
not you. I'm telling him, like, yeah, he's gotta chill out. Like he's Yedlin, but
But because talk about, I see on MLS Soccer and other, on Twitter, they talk about like still the Yedlin from Seattle, like the young guys, like, oh, it's been 10 years now. Okay, he's like,
yeah.
he went to Europe. It's a long time ago. It's not the same guy. He's good. I think I like him a lot. But
well, he hasn't looked very crisp this preseason, but everybody's saying, oh, it's because he played in the World Cup, so he's still a little rusty. I don't know,
So,
maybe.
I see a 3-1 Inter Miami win because of the strikers. Montreal has a good defense, but we'll see how this ball possession will play with Losada. Is it gonna be growing pains? Is it gonna be smooth? History says that Inter Miami should be losing against Montreal, but if I have $5 to put to bet, I'll put $5 on Inter Miami.
I mean, the change in game plan from last year to this year for Montreal is going to be drastic, though, because last year it was all possession based, right? Good defense, possession. And this year, if you're going to the counter, that's completely different. And with 8 starters getting accustomed to this new way of play, like you said, it's going to be some growing pains. And Miami last year, at least, was a great home team. I want to say we only dropped 3 home games. I might be off, but I'm pretty sure we only dropped like 3 home games. So we are a really good home team. You guys are going to be kind of figuring things out.
Exactly.
I mean, I guess we are also, but I also feel really good about this week for Inter Miami. And I was also going to say 3-1, much like you, honestly. So I'm right there with you, Sofian. I think we finally win the first game of the season for the first time, and we get
because honestly, this like last year, mid-season, didn't feel level. You guys have a great comeback in mid-season because for a while, like us in our podcast, like Miami's a joke. This club's a joke. Like they can't do
first
MLS rule. Yeah, it was rough. They have 5 DPs. They had David Beckham as a guy. Like, what's going on, these guys? We're like, okay, but then you guys had a big, you had a big comeback and you made the playoffs. So it's like back in July, I wasn't sure Miami wasn't going to stay in MLS. It was a mess, but then everything got better. So it's gonna be interesting to see.
And the first, I'm predicting the same thing that Adrian just predicted, seeing a 3-2 win for Miami. I could see that. I could see 2 goals coming out of Montreal.
But just because a lot of people are bringing up the fact that Montreal beat us in the preseason, we didn't play a lot of starters that game, and for the most part, there were a lot of players that just didn't play together during the preseason. Like Christoph, I think the first time he played was this Saturday. Negri, I'm not sure how many times he played. Bryce Duke just played for the first time just recently. Like I feel like the team hasn't played together a lot. Now that could be a detriment to us, right? Because they don't have that chemistry yet. But we haven't seen them. Like everybody's like, oh, but you only beat FIU. I was like, yeah, but we really didn't play our starting 11 very much together. Up until this past Saturday, and we really don't even know what's going to happen with Pizarro if he's starting. So I'm still optimistic. I still think we win.
I agree. Like people must understand. Yes, there are 8 stars that are coming back from Montreal, so there's a lot of familiarity. So it's fine. Like for me, they're not gonna look like bad or look disorganized. I just think I'm just afraid for the offensive link up. How's it going to work out without Mihailovic and Kone? So, and I might be surprised. Maybe Montreal win 4-1 because Sean Ray and Saliba, another young guy, might be like the next Ismail Kone, which is great. I've been watching this team for 10, 11 years, covering them. I've been not burnt. I've been like, let me lower my expectation and wait and see. Because it's kind of difficult. And I have my doubts on Losada, not because I don't like him. I like Nancy so much that anyone would have been in the spot or been a bit skeptical. I'm like, we had such a good thing. Why did I have to leave?
With Nancy, right?
So I just hope, of course. And a beef with the owner. That's another story for another time. But
that one I didn't know about.
It was crazy. And so hopefully, it works out. And He's a young guy with a good philosophy of attacking football, and we'll see what's gonna happen this weekend. But it should be fun.
Yes.
It should be. I can't wait. We'll be there. And if you see us, who's your goalie? Tell me his name because we usually yell at the goalie and cuss him out because we're right
James
behind the goalie.
James Pantemis.
Where's he from?
Montreal. Greek origin, but
Canadian?
like Montrealer. Pure
Oh, nice.
100%.
Oh, there you go, Chris. You could do that South Park bit to him.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey, buddy, what are you doing, guy?
Right on.
Yeah. So I'm
Blame
looking forward
Canada.
to it. Blame Canada for sure. All right. Well, Sofian, go ahead, Chris. You were gonna say something?
No, I was
forget
gonna mention that, even though this team has had a lot of changes, Montreal, at the end of the day, it's still scary to play them. I mean, I'm looking forward to the matchup, but at the end of the day, this is still gonna be a test. We're still playing a top team, like
Yeah.
They're still bringing back 8 starters from us
Yeah.
the second
This
seed
isn't-
in the
this
East
isn't-
last year for sure. It's not a cakewalk.
This isn't NYCFC with a couple janitors playing, striker and left wing. Like we're still playing a pretty good
Everybody
team.
seems to think that their academy players that they've developed and brought up are going to fit in just right in, and they're not going to fall off. That's what I've heard, and we're going to have somebody from an NYCFC podcast in 2 weeks to tell us more about it. But
Yeah, about the janitors.
I don't know.
Well, look, Sofian, I'll tell you this much. It was a pleasure to have you on, and I thank you so much for taking the time to get on the show with us here at the Battered Herons. I know that it's late and
it's early over there. What are you talking about? It's like 6
it's
o'clock
late,
over
but
there.
I mean, look, it's he's trying to get the kid to sleep. We've been there. The both of us have been there. So, shit. Right now, my wife would be coming and choking me out right now. So you got to keep her.
I have 10 unread SMS. So I think I'm screwed.
Ooh,
No.
guys in the
All right.
doghouse.
Well, before we get Sofian in major trouble, there's a couple of questions. Real
Go for
quick here. Adrian's asking, is there a young Montreal player we should look out for that can make a move to Europe like Kone in the future?
That's a great question. That's a great question. Not as direct as Kone or like Sean Rea. He has ambitions. Doesn't mean he can do it, but he has ambitions like, I want to go to Europe as soon as possible. So he's done one in the Canadian Premier League. It's not a top league, but still it's good. He had a lot of played the professional games for 2 years. I think he could have the potential to just watch him and see. He could attract some European teams, not like Kone. There's not probably not going to be D1 right away, but he has sort of like something different in his game. And he's when he came to the academy, he's always told us like, oh, he's good, and we see him now in the first team within a club that wants now to invest into young players. So it's good for him. I think Sean Rea is a player to watch. I find for the near future for sure.
And one more, Jay Vasquez. I think this is to everybody. What do you think about the power rankings putting Miami at number 25, only 4 spots over in front of last place? This is what I think about it. I think when you have national media ranking these teams, it's not an in-depth analysis. Yeah, because they kind of read the tweets. They see what people are complaining about. They're saying Joseph's over the edge. We got Pizarro back. They don't really know too much about Negri and Christoph. Not that they're going to be good, but I don't think that it's an in-depth analysis for them to say that we're number. Look, last year, the majority of those national analysts all had Miami finishing 11th, 12th, or 13th in the conference, and we ended up making the playoffs and with the 6th seed. And if it wasn't for that first 5-game start, we might have had a home playoff game. So I don't put too much into it. And breaking news, Kieran Gibbs just retired. That's what Lucas is saying. So breaking news.
We just got the report from Lucas. He's on the side. He's over there getting all the reports for us.
We're going to bring him on in the camera.
Co-sign.
I do believe him also. That's not going to make too much of a difference because he wasn't going to get much playing time anyway because he was going to be like the 3rd left back, 5th center back. So, I mean, he probably retired just because he didn't see where he was going to play this season anyway. So, that's crazy.
Well, that's kind of sucks because I was actually gonna tell Sofian that the one player that he's got to look out for is Kieran Gibbs, just to see if maybe he feeds that over to the CF Montreal organization, and then they're like, "Oh, we got to watch out for this Kieran Gibbs guy."
Yeah, he should be for Arsenal. Watch out.
All right, Sofian. Again, we appreciate you spending time with us, giving us a little insight on Montreal. We look forward to Saturday. Hopefully, we beat your asses. And thanks again. Anything else for the people, Chris?
No, man,
Appreciate
it's been wonderful. Like I said before, Sofian, thank you so much for taking the time to get on the show with us.
And thank you for
You're
speaking
welcome.
English.
Yes, for sure. Yes, I mean we
No,
tried
no
a little.
problem.
We tried a little bit of French in the beginning, and you and I, Danny, we flopped all over the place. So
It's
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
man.
it was bad.
My Spanish is no bueno, so don't worry about it, man.
hey, but
Hey,
that's good enough so far.
I only know it from chocolate, Kinder bueno.
Oh,
So I
Kinder
put no bueno.
that's
That's it,
right.
man. I'm just a fat guy, man. Just don't speak Spanish.
Well, at least you're eating good chocolate.
All right.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the invite, and anytime, my pleasure, guys. I really appreciate it.
And if you guys want to follow, just random people that are
French
into
tweets.
blogging and stuff, you tweet in French a lot though. So
Yeah,
it's
I
kinda
do
rough.
English. I do English. You can
But
click
go
and
ahead and
translate
follow
tweets.
Sofian. If you just want to hear his voice just to soothe you, go ahead and follow him on Twitter, Sofian Benzaza. And again, thank you a lot. You're participating in the Con Football podcast also, right?
Yeah, every Monday night we record. You can follow us on Patreon for the link, but also we'll put clips on Twitter. You can follow me on my Twitter. You'll find all the clips as I share them. So you can have a blast with us.
And your voice will put everybody to sleep and soothe them, no matter what language it is, right?
You can end up opening OnlyFans, guys. Relax.
All right. Well, thanks again, Sofian. We
Thank you, guys.
appreciate you. We appreciate everybody that joined us live in the chat, and we will catch you guys on Monday when we recap the game with, I don't know who's going to be on the show. Maybe it's just me and Chris. We'll see. All right. Thank you guys again, and we'll catch you guys on Monday.
Later.